Hello my friends, welcome to this quick misfortune guys. I will explain you everything that you need to actually play this champion. Who am I to tell you though? I was a full-time pro player, reached challenger the past years every single season, and now let's go straight into the video. Let's start with runes. You usually have two options, so the first one would be PTA, the other one would be lethality. Right now on this current patch we are on 26.11. PTA is way better than lethality on MF. And then what you're playing is usually PTA plus presence, and then you take alacrity because you will go BT, right? Bloodline is not really that useful. And then you usually go cut down depending on the enemies, obviously. And then on your second tree, you are going cashback plus triple tonic. What you can also do, since you're playing an immobile carry, right? Instead of going triple tonic, you can also go cosmic drive, and then you have less flash cooldown. And then I will quickly show you the lethality page here, but in my opinion, lethality is not really that viable right now, so we will be focusing on the PTA build. When it comes to the PTA build, you have like a few options. So your starter item can be Doran's Blade or Doran's Bow. It always depends a bit like how you want to play. Do you auto take a lot? Do you all in, you know? Let's say we're starting Doran's Bow now because the first item doesn't really matter that much. Then we are usually going BT, first item, kinda always. And then as second item, now we have like a few options that we can do. We can go the Essence River one, where we then itemize into like full crit. With the Sense River plus BT, we're basically playing the Misfortune build where we are always staying on the map. So you have lifesteal with BT, right? So you can always stay and be full HP. And with the Sense River, you will always get mana back. So you can basically stay all the time on the map and you will always be in a good condition. This build is not used that often right now. What is more used is either Collector or, in my opinion, the better item Hex Optics. So you should buy, in my opinion, Hex Optics second or Collector right now. So let's say we go with Collector, which is like the default right now. And then you most of the time go Infinity Edge, and then you can like finish up with like any sort of crit items, you know. You can go Mortal Reminder or the other Last Whisper item, Lord Dominic's, and then you can also go for like a Rapid Fire or something if you have like value out of the attack range. But you can like be kind of flexible, you know, like even GA or something can sometimes be good, but this is your core. So BT, Hex Optics, IE, and then you're still flexible. When it comes to summoner spells, you're always going Flash, and then your secondary summoner spell also, as always on AD carry, is kind of flexible. So let's say the enemies have a lot of assassins, for example, you could even run like Exhaust. When the enemies have like a lot of CC, you can go Cleanse, but I would say in most of the games Barrier is pretty useful because you're fighting a lot in lane. So now let's get over her spells. Her passive, really important. You will see the moment I attack someone, it does more damage, and then you see this blue thing around the enemy. So usually what we want to do is like attack different targets with MF. You see, my passive is proccing every single time when I'm hitting like a new target. Now when I'm hitting the same target twice, you will not hear this shot anymore, you know? It's like refreshing shot. So like swapping targets with Misfortune is sometimes pretty good. So this also works on wave, but we will get to that later. When you are like clearing waves, you shouldn't hit the like one minion all the time. For example, when you want to push, you should hit different minions. Okay, then let's get to a Q. Pretty simple. You're just having like a bullet that is bouncing on the enemies. What's really important to know though is that you usually want to auto attack Q auto attack, okay? Because by that you will proc your PTA. So when we auto Q auto, you see here, I can proc my PTA. I mean, if there's no enemy behind, right? So you auto Q auto, PTA is proc now. Really good. Then what you need to know is whenever you're killing a target with the Q, then your Q will actually critical strike and it will do a lot of damage. So let's say, for example, we would have a minion here and now we would like kill the minion, right? And then we Q. Then it does way more damage on the one you hit afterwards. So a lot of times in bot lane when there's a wave and like let's say this would be a minion and you Q and someone is behind here, then you can Q, last hit it, and it does double damage basically. Then Misfortune's W is just like after 4 seconds of not taking damage, Misfortune gains movement speed, right? After 3 seconds this increases to 100. So every single time you are like running somewhere, Misfortune is really fast. But now even more important, the passive gives you the full movement speed bonus immediately and 100% attack speed. So what we want to do is usually W when we are auto attacking. And you can see here laugh tap, so our passive reduces the cooldown of this ability. So if I'm using W and you see I'm now hitting like different targets with my passive, you will see my W is actually coming back up again. If I keep hitting the same target, like I'm not getting the cooldown refund. Then Misfortune E is just slowing the enemies, right? It's like a bullet coming from the air, just slowing the enemies. You can easily use this one. It's a really good slow. And especially if you want to like space the enemy, this is really important. So when you're like Eing him, you know, you can like run in, run out. I mean, use it on the correct target, run in, run out, because the enemies are always slowed when you're fighting like this. Okay, and then her ult is just basically like bullet time. You're just throwing out the ultimate, a lot of bullets are flying, and like what's really important when you're playing with Fortune, usually like our combo is like E-ulting, because by this they are slowed, right? It's way harder for the enemies to play. So not every single time, but a lot of times when you want to like ult someone, let's say they're staying here, then use your E before, because by this you will do way more damage than just ulting. And now let's talk like about a few mechanics that are pretty important when it comes to Miss Fortune. So usually you can like reset your passive by like hitting different targets, right? So for example, if I would like Q this guy now, and then the Q, my passive goes on this one, and if I hit this target again, then you see I'm refreshing my passive. So a lot of the times I'm using Q, and then I auto this guy again, and then you see my passive is actually getting resetted. This is really important when it comes down to your lane. And then aside from that, there are not that many mechanics anymore. It's really important in lane though that you find the correct angles. So what you should always do, when there's a wave, you should look to angles so that you can hit the enemy. So let's say, for example, I don't know, like enemy would be staying here, right? Then you want to find the angle where you can actually kill the minion and then queue the target behind, right? So if the target is here, it would make no sense to queue like this now. So then we would always want to like look here and then play with our bounce on our Q, right? And then you have the reset again as well on your passive, and then you're really good to go. This was a pretty short video. I hope you found this helpful. As always, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, check out my coaching Discord, my Patreon if you have any questions, and then I'm wishing you a great day. Goodbye.